I'm Dudley Lynch, and this is commentary from LeapPsych, the blog about thinking skills. It is clear that Donald Trump has arrived at his Quanah Parker moment. We are all waiting to see whether Mr. Trump can conduct himself as adeptly in leading the world's most powerful nation, as the great Indian chief did one of the most powerful tribes in American history. For all our sakes, the Donald is advised to give it his best shot. These thoughts occurred to me while I was reading about Chief Parker as the election returns came in a few nights ago. The work about the great chief of the Comanches is titled Empire of the Summer Moon. It was written by S.C. Gwynn, a former top editor of Texas Monthly. I recommend the book be placed on Trump's nightstand. Yours too, for that matter. For me, the initial attraction of Gwynn's historical masterpiece was mostly the setting. The Comanches, as this tribe's mostly West Texas hunting grounds were called, provided the geographical focus for the first third of my life. When a friend told me that this was the best history of that region ever written, I was intrigued. Then as I began to see how skilled this half-breed warrior was at using the kind of decision strategies we teach in brain technologies, I was beguiled. And when it became apparent how closely his persona, appearance, and behaviors mirrored those of our president-elect, I was riveted. For example, there are the similarities in their looks. An 1880s writer quoted by Gwynn said of Quanah, "He is tall, muscular, as straight as an arrow, look you straight through eyes, perfect teeth, the envy of feminine hearts." And their women. Quanah had 8 strikingly attractive wives. Gwynn notes he somehow managed to keep them even though he infuriated existing wives by constantly courting new ones. Their homes. On the reservation, Quanah built himself an extraordinary house. A 10-room, 2-story affair with wide 2-story colonnaded porch and enormous white stars painted on the roof. Their employees. For 10 years, Quanah hired white women to teach his wives how to cook, and a Russian immigrant named Dan Gomez to be his servant. Their skill at negotiating. Said Gwynn, Quanah was always a step ahead of everyone else. He was as good as most white men at playing the game. And yet there are differences, and this is where Mr. Trump would do well to pay close attention to Mr. Parker's example. By the way, Quanah added Parker to his Indian name because his mother was a white captive, Cynthia Ann Parker. Trump would benefit from Quanah's curiosity about the future. Says Gwynn, this man who once rode free on the high and windy plains also lived long enough to witness astonishing technological advances. He found it all fascinating. He wanted to try everything. End of quote. He was one of the first in his part of Oklahoma to have a telephone. He had a car, and he tried to establish a viable railroad to the Pacific and loved riding in the railroad's locomotive. Trump would benefit from having Quanah's boundless optimism. Says Gwynn, in hard times he looked resolutely forward toward something better. Our new president-to-be could use Quanah's natural leadership qualities. One admiring Indian agent wrote, "If ever nature stamped a man with the seal of headship, she did it in his case. It is in his blood." Quanah's high regard for others would serve Trump well too, said an Oklahoma shopkeeper who knew him well. He was always kind, never speaking ill of anyone. And there was Quanah's spirit of caring. One of his adopted red sons noted he had a great herd of cattle and horses in 1890, and when he died in 1911, he did not have many left because he was so generous. When a person became hungry, he fed them. His bodyguard, an occasional driver of an old ambulance he used for a motor car, was a Comanche named George Washington, who was both deaf and unable to speak. The story about Quanah Parker that I like best in Gwen's book comes near the end. It tells how Quanah came to Dallas in 1910 to speak at the Texas State Fair. He omitted any remarks about his career as a raider and killer of white people, but otherwise regaled his standing room only audience with much of his fascinating life story. Then he added, and I quote, "Just one more minute. Here's one more say. My ways call for money every time they send me to the fair. 2 men came to me about a year ago to go to New York City. I give you $5,000 for 2 or 6 months to take your family over there. I say, no, you put me in little pen. I ain't no monkey." And that is all, gentlemen. End of quote. That too is a powerful lesson that our new president-elect can learn from Chief Quanah Parker of the Comanches. None of us are monkeys. And that's our commentary from Leap Psych. You'll find our blog on finding and mobilizing what needs to come next at braintechnologies.com. Thanks for listening.